Hey everybody, welcome to another discography ranking. Yes, those of y'all don't know what a discography ranking is, that's where I rank every album from a band's or artist's discography. And I have done other discography rankings in the past, such as Beck, Ween, Nirvana, the Velvet Underground. Yeah, the two posters I got in the background here. Yeah, and the Ramones as well. And I feel like there's probably another Beatles. I did the Beatles. Now I am doing the Pixies. Yes. And if you know my channel pretty well, you might know that I'm a pretty big Pixies fan. I've done other videos on the Pixies, such as my top 20 favorite Pixie songs, and also I ranked every single song from the album Doolittle. Go check those videos out if you haven't already. But yeah, I thought I'd do a Pixies ranking. I've been wanting to do this since I started discography rankings. I think at that time though I was waiting for the new album to come out, and now that it's been a couple months now since the albums came out. I figured, yeah, why not? Why not do it now? Why not rank all nine of the Pixies albums? Now, technically, they have eight studio albums, like full length studio albums. But I'm also going to include the debut EP Come On Pilgrim. So yeah, so in my book there's nine Pixies albums. So yeah, I'm gonna rank all nine Pixies albums from my least favorite to favorite. And of course, keep in mind these are my personal opinions. Uh, like if your favorite Pixies album happens to be my least favorite, I apologize. I will say that there is a album on this ranking that will that is very beloved by Pixies fans, but it happens to be pretty low. Um, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. You'll see what it is in a minute, but yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead. Waste no time. Let's go ahead and um, get started, shall we? With my number nine, my least favorite. All right. All right, so coming in at number nine is, of course, my least favorite Pixies album, and some people might get mad at this one because I think some Pixies fans like this one. This is one of their later albums, and I think a lot of people might say that this is like the best out of the later era of Pixies, but honestly, I think this is their worst album. My number nine is from 2016, I think. I think it's 2016. That is Head Carrier, which yes, I ironically I own on CD, even though I'm not a fan of this album. But yeah, Head Carrier is my least favorite. I'm not gonna say it's a terrible album, but it's not very good in my opinion. I think it's very bland, pretty boring, honestly, and it just sounds just I don't know. It sounds very generic, just it's just not very much going on for me. It kind of feels like it's unfinished too. It's really short, and I just don't care for this album. However, there's a few songs on here I do like, but even those I want to like put in my all-time favorite Pixie songs. But there's some decent ones. My personal favorites are Una, All I Think About Now, and All the Saints. And I also like the self-titled track, and Chagalaga is a pretty funny song. Um, so really, I only give a shit about five songs on this 12-track album. If this album was just a five-track EP with all five of those songs I just mentioned, then I wouldn't mind it. I would think it's pretty decent for at least an EP. Um, but no, this album, like I said, it's so bland. I never cared for it. Never cared for it that much. I think when I first heard it, I thought it was okay, but the more times I listened to it, I just couldn't get it. I just don't really like it very much. Um, Even though I own it on CD, I'm just not a fan. So So yeah, Head Carrier is number 9, my least favorite Pixies album. All right, so coming in at number 8 is, this is going to be a hot take. This is going to be very controversial because there is a ton of Pixies fans that love this album. They might even say that this is their favorite, if not this, and maybe Doolittle or Bossanova, which I'll get to those much later. And I think those are much better albums than this one. But man, I don't care for this one that much. My number 8 is Surfer Rosa. Yeah, and the reason why I'm not showing the album cover, for one, I don't have the album itself, and two, I would show the, like, for the albums I don't own, I will show the Wikipedia, I will show it, from the Wikipedia page, album covers, but this one, um, I don't want to risk it to show the album cover for this because there is a naked woman on the album cover. I don't want to risk it. I don't want YouTube to block this video. I mean, maybe they won't, but just in case, I'm just going to not risk it. But yeah, Surfer Rosa is my number 8. Yeah, I really don't like this album. With the exception of a few songs, this album kind of sounds like shit. Not gonna lie. I'm sorry, but the production on this album sucks. Like, it just sounds like shit. It really does. Even some of the songs that sound decent, they still don't sound very good. The songs that are decent, they don't sound very good because the production is pretty bad, honestly. And it was produced by Steve Albini, who later produced Nirvana's In Utero, and that album sounds amazing. But this one, I mean, maybe it's the band's idea. I think they recorded this. I heard that they recorded this like in a locker room, which is kind of cool, but I don't know. It just didn't come out very good. This album does not sound good to me. It really doesn't. I really don't like the production. However, there are two songs I do enjoy from this album that I really like, and that is Bone Machine and, of course, Where Is My Mind, which I will say, Where Is My Mind sounds really good. That is like the only one that actually sounds great. And Bone Machine sounds okay, but like even Gigantic, for example, which is a good song, I don't like the album version of the song. It doesn't sound very good, and the single version is so much better. Um, but like even Kim Deal's vocals sound so much better in the single one. The one on the album, her vocals don't sound that great, and the song itself doesn't sound very good. Even a song like Cactus, which by the way is from, this is what my shirt is from, Bloody Your Hands from a Cactus Tree. Um, Even that song is a cool song. I like Cactus. It's a cool song, but even that, the production doesn't sound very good. And some of the others as well. I'm sorry, people. Those of y'all who love Surfer Rosa and say that this is your favorite Pixies album, I apologize. I just never cared for this one. There's even some annoying tracks on here, like Tony's theme is one of the worst Pixie songs I ever heard. And I don't care for Broken Face either, or what is it? Oh my golly, and I'm amazed. Like, they're just, I just, I don't know what they're thinking, honestly, with writing those songs. Like, they're not very good, and they definitely sound like shit on this album. So yeah, I'm sorry, but Surfer Rosa, that is my number 8. I like it slightly better than Head Carrier, which ironically I own Head Carrier and I don't own Surfer Rosa, but I like it slightly better than that, but it's still not very good. I'm sorry, but yeah, Surfer Rosa is number 8. All right, number 7 is their latest album, the album that came out this year. Yes, and that is Doggerel. I think is how you say it. Doggerel. I believe that's how you say it. But so I'm not entirely sure what Pixies fans think of this album, but I will say when I very first heard this album, I was not a fan. I did not. I thought it was very like much like Head Carrier. I thought it was very generic and just kind of boring. But then I gave it a second listen, of course, to do this ranking, and it was a little better. It was a little bit better. I still don't love it. I just think it's so. Like I just think it's just like it's just not bad, but it's not great either. It's just whatever. Um, I mean, there are some decent tracks on here, but even those, I want to put those in my top 20 favorite Pixie songs. But it's fine, I guess. It's harmless. I think it's a little better and a little bit more interesting than Head Carrier, at least. Like I would definitely listen to this more than Head Carrier for sure. But yeah, it's fine. Uh, my favorite tracks from this album are No Matter Day, Haunted House, There's a Moon On, and I think the self-titled track too. That one was pretty good, of what I remember. That one's kind of different sounding of what I remember. But yeah, it's this album's okay. Uh, you know, could be better, but could be a lot worse. It's fine. So yeah, Doggerel, that is my number 7. All right, coming in at number 6. All right, I will say the rest of these I do like, and even though this is kind of low, I still like this one. So yeah, all right, number 6, in my opinion, this is the true debut album by Pixies, not Surferosa. Even though this is an EP, of course. My number 6 is their debut EP, Come On Pilgrim. Yeah, very good, very solid EP. It's a very good EP. I think it might be my favorite EP, maybe. But it's definitely up there. Definitely my favorite EPs. I think it's great. With the exception of a couple songs like I'm not too into Nimrod's Son or that one I can never pronounce it, but it's that one in Spanish, that short song, not Vamos, but the other one. Um, but um, but yeah, with the exception of those songs, I don't really care for those very much. But everything else is good. I think all the other tracks are very good. My personal favorites are Caribou, which is a great way to start your discography. Not gonna lie, like this is an amazing song to start the discography of the Pixies. Not just first song on the first album, but yeah, Caribou, Ed is Dead, I've Been Tired, and Levitate Me. Those are my personal favorites from Come On Pilgrim. But yeah, great, really good EP. I really like it. Too bad it didn't make it into the top 5. I just like some of these others. I just like these others better. Just yeah, but yeah, no, Come On Pilgrim is a great EP. I enjoy it very much, and that is my number 6. Come On Pilgrim. All right, and now we're in the top 5, and coming in at number 5 is another kind of controversial pick because I don't think a lot of Pixies fans like this album. I think a lot might say this is their least favorite. I actually like this one. I think it's underrated. I think this is a very underrated Pixies album. Maybe their most underrated. No, okay, second. Second most. Okay, third. Third most underrated Pixies album. We'll get to the others later, but this is an underrated Pixies album in my opinion, and this was their comeback album. This, yeah, from 2014, coming in at number 5 is Indie Sydney. Yes. And then here's a little fact. This was my first ever record I ever bought. Yeah, was this. Which is kind of odd that there's actually 2 records in this, and I don't understand why. Because there's only 12 tracks, and instead of just having one record, with 6 songs on each side, they have 3 songs on each side of each record. I don't understand that. It's kind of odd, But great album. I really like Indie Cindy. I know there's a lot of people that, like I said, not a lot of people like this one. Now I will say the middle part of this album, I think all of, I mean, if this was just one side and had 6 songs in each, I think the first side, all the songs on the first side is great. But the second side, the first 4 songs on the second side, which are Blue Eyed Hexa, Ring the Bell, Another Toe in the Ocean, Andro Queen, those songs I'm not crazy about. I think Ring the Bell is kind of not. I don't really like that one very much, and the other 3 are okay, but I just they're kind of bland in my opinion. But every other song on this album is great. I think every other song on this album is really good. And this album is kind of a little bit poppy, but it's also kind of experimental as well. That's why I really like it. Like, it's very different. I think that's a reason why a lot of Pixies fans don't like this album, because it's different, and this was their comeback album. But I mean, I still enjoy it. I still really like Indie Cindy a lot. My personal favorites are What Goes Boom, the self-titled track, Magdalena 318, Silver Snail, and Snakes. Yeah, awesome songs, and this is an awesome album. I really enjoy Indie Cindy, and that is my number 5. Yeah, my 5th favorite Pixies album, Indie Cindy. Okay, so coming in at number 4, we got uh a album that a lot of Pixies fans really like. Actually, like, I would kind of say this is underrated, but I don't know, maybe not, because I think a lot of Pixies fans just love this album, and I definitely get it. I remember when I first heard it, I wasn't crazy about it, but it grew on me over time. I do think it's an underrated album in general, but as a Pixies album, I'm not sure if I would call it underrated. But my number 4 is from 1990, Bossanova. Yeah, which I also own on record, obviously. Yeah, I think this is a great album. Wasn't, like I said, I wasn't crazy about it when I first heard it, but it definitely grew on me over time, and I think it's great. Some songs I'm actually, you know what? Oh no, okay. There's 2 songs on this album I'm not crazy about, like Anna and Blown Away. I don't really care for those songs very much, but all the other songs are great. My personal favorites are Valoria, which is a masterpiece of a song, one of their best, without a doubt. Is She Weird? All Over the World, Dig for Fire, The Happening, which happens to have, no pun intended, happens to have another song in The Happening, which happens to be my favorite Pixie song. That is The Thing, which they recorded a separate version of just The Thing, and that happens to be my favorite Pixie song. But yeah, The Happening, and also Stormy Weather. I really like Stormy Weather. But yeah, Bossa Nova is a great album. Like I said, I think that for an album in general, like for like a classic, well, okay, not classic rock, but as a rock album in general, and maybe even an alternative rock in general, a rock album in general, an alternative rock album in general, it's pretty underrated. As a Pixies album, though, I think it's pretty well beloved. I think a lot of Pixies fans like this one. I've even heard some say that this is their favorite. So, yeah, and I definitely understand. It's great. It's fantastic. Yeah, Bossa Nova. That is my number 4. All right, number 3 is a very different album. This is my favorite of the later years for the Pixies. Was their second to last album. Came out in 2019, and that is, unfortunately, I don't own it. I need to get it, but that is Beneath the Eyrie, or Eyrie. I'm still trying to figure out how you're supposed to say that, but I think I don't know, Eyrie, Beneath the Eyrie. But yeah, Beneath the Eyrie is a great album. I think it's their best of the later years for sure. And this one's very different. This kind of has like more of a gothic tone to it, which is pretty cool, I have to say. And they pulled it off very well, surprisingly. But yeah, this album when it came out, I was very surprised of how much I loved it. I this was tied up there with Doolittle as like my favorite Pixies album. Now after listening to it, it got down just a little bit, but I still love it. I still think it's a amazing. I still think it's a great fucking album. Um, there are a couple songs on here I'm not crazy about, like what was it? Oh, let's see, Saint Nazar or however you're supposed to say. I don't know how you say it. That one and was it I'm Ready for Love. I didn't like those songs very much, but the rest of the album is great and got great songs on here. My personal favorites, such as um, On Graveyard Hill, This Is My Fate, Silver Bullet, Long Rider, Los Surfers Mortos, Bird of Prey, which is, I think, my personal favorite on the album, and Daniel Boone. Yeah, and even the ones I didn't mention are very good as well. Um, yeah, I really like Beneath the Eyrie. Like I was very surprised, like I said, of how much I really enjoyed this album, especially after Head Carrier. After not really liking that album very much, Beneath the Eyrie is great. So yeah, Beneath the Eyrie is my number three. All right, number two. So I forgot to mention, but okay, so I did say that Indie Sydney is, in my opinion, the third most underrated album. Beneath the Eyrie is the second most underrated album, underrated Pixies album. This, in my opinion, is their most underrated album, and I fucking love this album. That is their for a long time up until 2014 with Indie Sydney. This was their last album for a long time, and I think for a last album, it's very good. It's great. Yeah, my number two is Trompe le Monde. I if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize, but that's how I've always said it. Trompe le Monde, from 1991. Very underrated Pixies album, very underrated alternative rock album. This one slaps. This one really slaps. However, I will say that there are a few tracks on here I'm not crazy about, and one of them being Planet of Sound. I do not like Planet of Sound. I honestly think that's one of their worst songs. I'm sorry. Those of y'all who love it, I apologize. I never liked Planet of Sound. I always thought it was just too noisy and just I don't even understand how it got a single either. It doesn't even it doesn't sound that great. The chorus sucks. I don't like Planet of Sound. Never cared for it. I'm sorry, Pixies fans. But and there's a few others I'm not crazy about either. But the rest of this is great, and my personal favorites are the self-titled track, Alec Eiffel, which is a fucking masterpiece. I love Alec Eiffel. Head On, which is a cover of Jesus and Mary Chain. I honestly like it better than the Jesus and Mary Chain version. I'm not a big Jesus and Mary Chain fan, honestly, and I never cared for their version of the song, but the Pixies version is great. Um, Letter to the Memphis is amazing. Underrated Pixie song, Bird Dream of the Olympias Mons. That's a great one. Space I Believe in. Jeffrey, we want F. Jeffrey. I love that one. And also Motorway to Roswell is great as well. Yeah, I think Trompe le Monde is a fantastic album, despite a few duds in there. But it's great. I think it's their second best album, and there's I think it's their most underrated album. I think Trompe le Monde is a fantastic album. So yeah, Trompe le Monde is my number 2. My second favorite Pixies album. Yes. Alright, and my number 1 favorite Pixies album. If you've been keeping track, you know what it is. It's probably not a shocker. This is their most popular album, but I think this is a masterpiece of an album. Not a bad track on this album at all. Like even my least favorite songs on the album, I still think is very good. Are very good. Possibly my favorite album of all time too. Maybe. That is my number 1, 1998's Doolittle. Yeah, I mean, who didn't see this coming? Doolittle is, like I said, a fucking masterpiece. Like, and hands down, 10 times better than Surf Rosa. This was the follow up to Surf Rosa, and it's way better with way better production. It sounds great even after all these years. It still sounds fantastic. Um, I think it's one of the greatest albums ever made. I honestly do. I think it's amazing, and it's probably most likely my favorite album of all time. Even and not a bad song on this album, like I said. Even my least favorites, which those are being Crackety Jones and There Goes My Gun, those songs are even great. They're very good too. I definitely won't skip those. I think they're fantastic. Even though they are my least favorite on the album, I still love them. But yeah, Doolittle is an amazing album. My personal favorites from this one are Tame, Wave of Mutilation, I Bleed, uh, Dead, Monkey Gone to Heaven, number 13, Baby, amazing song. And probably my favorite is Gouge Away. Gouge Away is awesome. Um, yeah, Doolittle is a great fucking album without a doubt. Most those who are watching this video probably have already heard this album. But if you for some reason haven't, and if you especially if you love alternative rock music, like if you're a Nirvana fan or a Radiohead fan, even a Weezer fan, definitely check this album out. This will blow you away just like it did the first time I listened to this album, which ironically, when I very first heard this album, I actually heard the track list out of order because for some reason my brother he had a copy of this album, but it was like a burnt copy, and for some reason the track list was out of order. Like I remember it started with Debaser, but it ended with I think here There Goes My Gun for some reason. It was a very strange track listing. I mean, of course, all the songs, but just in different orders. Um, but yeah, ironically, that's how I first heard the album, and then I bought this and noticed that it was a different track listing, and it's so much better than that one, honestly. But yeah, Doolittle is an amazing album, possibly my all-time favorite album. Yeah, Doolittle is my number 1 favorite Pixies album. Yeah. All right, there we go. There is my ranking for all all nine Pixies albums from my least favorite to favorite. So in the comments, please give if you are a Pixies fan, please give me your ranking for all of their albums and include Come On Pilgrim, by the way. Don't leave that one out. Include that one. And if you don't want to do a ranking, that's fine. Just give me your top 5 and and or just say what your favorite and least favorite Pixies albums are. Yeah. So all right, and also I'll go and say this: if you have any recommendations for bands or artists you want me to do discography ranking for, let me know down in the comments. And if I'm interested enough, I'll do it. All right. So okay. So Monday, I'm still trying to figure out what to do. Yeah, I really don't know. I'm starting to run out of ideas of movie lists to do. Um, I'll think of something though. I'll think of something. And as for Thursday, that will be another album review. I Even though the T Rex, the what was it, Electric Warrior review, still hasn't got too many views yet. But if you haven't seen my review for Electric Warrior by T Rex, go check that out. And but yeah, I I will do another ranking for that album. I'll put up a poll, which by the time this comes out, I probably have already done that. But that will be next Thursday. Will be another album review, so look out for that. All right, so please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell, and I'll see you later. All right, peace.